On today's episode, when acute pain turns chronic with Kevin Maggs. It's not too often that I record a podcast interview these days, and it actually gets me thinking a lot, like fundamentally of how I'm treating clients and how I understand pain and understand injuries. And if you've listened to several episodes, or if you listen to, the start of this, now is 270 odd episodes, you know that I'm quite fond of pain science and starting to wrap my head around, that particular field. And I do have guests and researchers to help me understand that, who I interview on the podcast. But then you come across Kevin Maggs, who's been on the podcast before. He has been on episode 32, talking about the misconceptions of knee OA, and has been a great resource. He's one of the guys I follow. There's top tier health professionals that I follow. There's a very select few, and he is definitely one of them. And he's had a radical shift in his career, more shifting towards this holistic side of pain and trying to understand pain, inflammation, the effects it has on the body, what causes inflammation, what causes pain, signals to fire more easily. And it's a topic that he's discussing now is something that I haven't thought about before. And I reached out to him and we're sort of coming up with some ideas about some episode topics. And he's like, how about, I've gone through your list, Brody, and you talk about pain a lot, and you talk mainly about when it comes to pain science, the psychological side, and not much talk about the physiological side to pain sensitivity. And he sent me a long email about a template of what we can do. And he's just quoting article after article. And there was about 20 articles hyperlinked into this email. And I'm like, geez, this guy, he's going all in, and he spares no expense to bring top quality research. And you'll figure it out as soon as you start listening to this episode. He really knows what he's talking about, really focuses on the evidence, quotes papers and so forth. And if there's an area that's a bit more puzzling, he'll admit that as well. But we just cover pain science in a different light, in the physiological side of things, like what can actually be measured. And, he talks I thought this would be a 45-minute interview, turned out to be a lot longer. And that's only because I sort of hard pressed him at the end to wrap things up. And yeah, you're going to love him. If you're in the US and you love what he says and want to do a telehealth call with him, he talks about some websites that you can go to, and I'll link them in the show notes after this. And like I say, very few interviews I have a topic or a discussion where makes me question how I'm approaching my own injuries and how I'm treating clients and my fundamental understanding about pain. So you're going to love this one. Let's take it away. Kevin, thanks for joining me once again on the Run Smarter podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brody. It's been a few years. You've been having all these PhDs on there and forgot about little old me.
I never forget about you. I love all the work that you're doing. And for those who aren't familiar, you were on episode 32, so way back, talking about knee OA misconceptions, which has been a very popular episode. I point people to that episode all the time whenever they show scans or, have questions about osteoarthritis, and you knocked that one out of the park. And that was, almost 3 years ago now. So it's crazy how long ago that was. But for those who aren't familiar with you, I'd love you to, give a run up as to what your career has been like, and particularly any changes in direction from when you're on the first time to now.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, congratulations on your book. It's a great
Thank
book.
you.
If anybody has a chance to get it, it's awesome.